Speaking of which, I'm excited now to bring in our next presenter on the virtual summit. Welcome to Matt Keil, Director of Product Marketing at Cequence Security. Hey, Matt, it's great to have you back on.
Hey, thanks very much for having me.
Absolutely. Take it away.
Great. So as the moderator said, my name is Matt Keil. I'm with Cequence Security. And let's see. There we go. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Today I'm going to keep in the theme of understanding emerging technologies and strategies that the folks at ActualTech have set forth. And the primary topic I'll talk about today are the 6 things your API security platform must do. Clearly, APIs have exploded this year, and they are really very much a double-edged sword, if you will. They are a threat actor's dream come true, and I'll talk a little bit about that, about why that is. But when you look at APIs, they're being used for virtually everything these days. They are the back end to many web applications, connecting directly to a back-end service like a database. They're the primary source of communications for your mobile apps, critical for containers, cloud services. You get the idea. From a threat actor's perspective, they also enable the fraud to be committed through automated bots. They can lead to data loss and network compromise, right? The weak authentication was the primary reason that some of the companies that listed at the bottom had API security incidents in 2020. You've got shadow APIs that are published outside of the traditional publication process, errors made that expose sensitive data, all of which has really led to a significant number of security incidents in the year 2021. And I really don't see that slowing down in any way, shape, or form. Now, when many of you might be thinking about or moving towards API security in the year 2022, the market itself is very, very crowded. I engage with some of the industry analysts, and in a conversation with Gartner recently, they said that there were no less than 40, that's 40, vendors calling themselves API security. So, as you move into this, it's going to be somewhat overwhelming. And the way that I look at the API security market, there really are 3 areas or categories of solutions. There's the API management. This is your API gateway, right? It's Kong, it's the AWS gateway. There's a whole list of different API gateways. Now, their primary purpose is to help you manage your gateways in terms of access control and authorization reporting. They do provide some level of security. It's pretty rudimentary in terms of volumetric controls and access control. There's the middle category, which is the tools that are more focused on the dev side, the tools that are going to perform some analysis on your APIs to look for potential vulnerabilities, making sure that those vulnerabilities are addressed prior to publication. They're going to look at security weaknesses, authentication weaknesses, those types of things. These are an extension of your traditional web app vulnerability testing, but they're focused primarily on APIs, which everybody should understand is a very different animal from a web app. And then there's the third category, the runtime visibility and threat prevention solutions. These are going to be, they're going to do a little bit on the DevOps side in terms of the visibility and the analysis, but they're going to do it at runtime and they're going to be extending further into the security side of things, where they're performing real-time analysis, looking for attacks that might be volumetric attacks on the APIs. It's important to understand that when you think about an API, even the most perfectly coded API can be attacked. It can be a volumetric attack. It can be an attack that tries to take advantage of the business logic that's built into the API, those types of things. So, really think about how you're going to go about addressing API security, what teams are going to be involved, and what direction you want to go in terms of the three different categories. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think your API security must do, 6 things. Why 6? Well, it's one more than 5 and less than 10. So let's talk about the first one, visibility, right? Any security professional is going to tell you that they can't protect what they don't know about, right? That's pretty self-explanatory. Now, an API can be developed by any one of a number of different development organizations in your company. We have a customer who is a fairly large customer who is outsourced quite a bit of their API development to third-party contractors. So they have, in addition to that, they have distributed development groups globally. So you've got, 5, 10 different groups working on APIs, developing APIs, and publishing them. So they can be published, within a defined process or potentially outside of it. During the analysis of this particular customer, they told us that there should be only 4 gateways through which the API should be funneled. Turns out we discovered 20 gateways, and so there was 16 gateways that were out there that shouldn't have been out there. So it's important to look for a solution that is going to allow you to integrate to any of your network elements, meaning you're going to be able to collect the APIs from those network elements, supports any type of application, service mesh, legacy APIs, web APIs, and can perform the data collection either inline, in a passive manner, or through an API. So you don't want to be forced into a particular architecture because the vendor has limited support for for any one of these different requirement elements. Item number 2, so time to value, right? We've seen scenarios where the API solution that is being deployed takes weeks or months to be deployed, right? You want to be able to get up and running quickly, right? Currently the deployment mechanism or the deployment architecture of choice that we see is a SaaS offering, where in a matter of minutes you can redirect your traffic from your CDN to the SaaS offering and begin analyzing your API structure within about anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. And that really does accelerate your time to value. Once you start analyzing that traffic, you want to be able to apply policies that will begin protecting that traffic out of the box. It's really important to think about how quickly can I determine my API attack surface area, and how quickly can I begin protecting it. Number 3, this begins to delve a little bit onto the automated attack side of APIs, also known as bots, right? The API security, what we see in terms of APIs is most of the automated attack traffic is now coming across APIs. Over 80% of it, based on our analysis of our traffic during the year, is now across an API. So it's critical that whatever you look for doesn't impact the end user in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't force them to upgrade their mobile application, for example, because it uses an SDK. Doesn't impact your page load times. And the third critical element is to make sure that there's nothing that an attacker can see and reverse engineer in order to evade detection capabilities. All right, roll into number 4. Breadth of API coverage. So this complements really number 1, the visibility requirement that I talked about, but it delves a little bit more deeply into specifics. Right, there are many different forms an API can take. Really, they are part of your mobile application. They are a single-page web application. There are known and unknowns. I talked a little bit about that earlier. You know, if you think about a large organization, the marketing department, for example, at the company I used to work with, was integrating into using APIs from a wide range of different marketing vendors. You know, we were tying demand generation tools into Salesforce.com through an API, and it was actually being done with very little security oversight. So that's an example of what you might call an unknown API. And those APIs might be leveraged. We had a customer where they were using an API to perform content translation. You know, they're a global company, so they were automating the content translation, and that API was whitelisted. Well, that API was that whitelisted API was unknown and and outside of the protection of the Cequence platform, and the attackers were able to take advantage of that API. So critical that you take into account everywhere that your APIs are and begin protecting them, bringing them into the security umbrella, if you will, so that your data and your business is protected. You do not want to be the next Peloton or John Deere example in the news. That just is very damaging to your brand, really wasteful of resources. Efficacy. So this, the attack landscape or attackers have become very sophisticated. We see customers who are being subjected to a combination of automated, low and slow attacks that are then complemented by humans. So very difficult to detect using traditional bot defense or bot detection API security offerings. You know, what you want to look for is the ability to how does the vendor detect and prevent very sophisticated account takeover attacks or shopping bot attacks where they're where their attacks are distributed across thousands of IP addresses coming from a variety of different countries using a variety of different browsers, all with the goal acquiring the high demand item like a new sneaker release or a PS2 or an Xbox. Now this is critical, really, is that it be transparent to threat actors so they can't reverse engineer it, and the advancements should be able to track the attacker behavior as they are met with prevention techniques or detection techniques, and they retool to continue to try to achieve their end goal. All right, black box, not a black box. So it's very important that the solution that you choose has a threat monitoring service or some support mechanism that will help you analyze and respond to sophisticated attacks. Now, that's on the flip side, it's also critical that you have access to all your data and can manage policies. You should not have to engage with the professional services, wait for them to respond in order to analyze a particularly difficult attack or to make updates to a policy or to access the threats data for your own analysis. You want to look for that openness, if you will, an open platform that is conducive to a collaborative engagement with the vendor. It should support API management infrastructure, meaning you should be able to pull data in that augments the findings. Like if you have a threat subscription service, for example, you might want to be able to pull that into the API security offering in order to augment the analysis capabilities. On the flip side, you want to be able to export it out and use that data in your SIM or SOAR offerings, use that data to complement your existing security infrastructure with the end goal, really, of strengthening your security posture. You want to have that ecosystem integration to really strengthen and your posture and protect your APIs, your business, and your data. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of how we can help. Cequence is an API security company. Our roots are founded in the bot prevention arena, where for years we've been protecting some of the larger retail and financial services organizations from automated attacks. And as I mentioned, more and more those attacks are over APIs, roughly 80% to date. So, the challenge is we've extended that capability now more completely into the API security realm, addressing the customer challenges that you see listed here. Visibility, regardless of what solution you choose, it's critical that you find something that gives you full visibility of your entire API attack surface area, from the data center to service mesh environments to the edge. The second challenge that we help customers address is really those sophisticated API attacks. The best example of API attacks really is the sneaker bots, where they perform significant research on a particular retailer to analyze how the web purchasing process works, finding the APIs, tracking when the sneakers are going to be released, and then a concerted large-scale effort to get those sneakers before a legitimate buyer might get them. So It's something that we take pride in being able to perform. And then, being able to quickly respond to those attacks. So there's three components really to the platform. The underlying technology is CQAI. It's an ML-based analysis engine that determines behavior, malicious or legitimate, and then presents those findings and allows you to set policy based on that. And that can be done through API Sentinel or bot defense. So it's a discover the attack surface area, detect the different attacks that might be coming across that attack surface area, and then defend in real time to block those attacks from reaching those APIs. So really, and that's a very important point. Right? When you think about API security, you want to think about where is the prevention going to be happening? Are you going to let that potentially malicious traffic get all the way into your data center or into your application infrastructure where you'll prevent it there? Or are you going to prevent it at the edge before it has a chance to subject negatively impact your APIs. All right, and so when you think about how we get deployed, and once we're deployed, these are the use cases that you might be using Cequence to address. Obviously, discovery and risk classification, predefined risk. Assessment rules and custom risk assessment rules help you uncover things like weak authentication, sensitive data exposure, APIs that are non-conformant to a specification, and then the additional threat analysis helps uncover API attacks that might have an end goal of gift card fraud or loan payment fraud, or loan fraud or payment fraud. Or they might be taking advantage of leveraging your APIs to perform business logic abuse, content scraping, enumeration attacks, those types of attacks. So something to think about. Now, as an offer, we have, you have the ability to sign up for a free trial. I've also given the folks at ActualTech a data sheet and some other materials that you can download. And with that, I'm going to open it up to questions. The moderator want to come back on and see if we have some questions?
Absolutely, yeah. We do have some questions for you, Matt. While we take questions from the audience, I'm just going to bring up this poll question for everyone out there that says, what additional information would you like about the Cequence solution? And we appreciate your feedback on that. So yeah, there's a lot of great questions coming in here. Let's see, I'll just go to this one first from Bradford, who's asking, with Cequence being able to establish an inventory of APIs, could it also perform some sort of automated response to an attack that's in real time?
Yes, absolutely. That is really where one of our core competencies. So, it might be an enumeration attack or a bot attack, Bradford, but when we see that attack traffic pattern, we can block it, we can log it, we can rate limit it, you can geofence it, or you can send the findings to a firewall or some other tool that you might use for a response. So not only do we detect it, but we can immediately, in real time, respond to it.
Excellent. Yeah, that's really cool. And another question, what about the location of the APIs? Like, can Cequence monitor APIs, whether they're, say, on premises or in the public cloud? Does the location matter of that service?
No. it can be, that's the one of the, I think it's it was requirement number 1 or 2, where you really want to be able to integrate with your proxies, your API gateways, your ingress controllers, so that you do exactly that. Collect the API information that you can track and keep inventory of, and protect. So no, the location does not matter.
Excellent. Rob is asking, how are you able to detect undocumented APIs such as developer or debug APIs that wouldn't be seen normally?
Well, developer or those APIs might be sound like they might be internal APIs, and so again, it would require us to tie into, say, the gateway that's in front of your development environment, or your ingress controller if you're working in a container environment. So it all just depends on how we would tie into your API management infrastructure, and which APIs will you want to try and begin tracking and protecting and finding.
Okay, got it. And then, is there a risk and compliance, like audit type of report that can be produced?
Yes. So there are all of the APIs are assessed based on three predefined risk assessment rules, and then you can create your own risk assessment rules. And they are rated on a scale of 0 to 10, and then broken down into what you might call high, medium, and low. You can risk. That information can then be reported on, and the information can be exported. You can also initiate remediation alerts via email, Slack, and a range of other tools, so that you can initiate an action by the development team, if you will, to fix, say, an API that has weak authentication, or to close up an API that is exposing sensitive data or not using appropriate levels of encryption, that type of thing.
Excellent. All right. Well, Matt, I'm afraid we're running out of time here in our live Q&A, but there's a number more technical questions left for you there in the queue. I just brought up the URL for everyone out there, the Cequence.ai API security free trial. I encourage everyone to check that out. Matt, it's been great having you on. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much for having us.